Blessed good morning and welcome to our final devotions for this week, the second week of Easter, and trusting that we would have really enjoyed our time together this week. I trust that it has been of some benefit to you as we come to the end of this week. And for me, it's always a time of just reflecting, just gathering the various thoughts. Sometimes there's so much that we're not able to fully digest everything, and so I want us to be able to just take our time and reflect at the end of the week on what we might have heard, not just from my sharing, but even more so from just what's been going on within you, within your hearts. Sometimes we focus so much on what is going on outside of us that we don't pay any attention to what's going on within. And believe me, what's going on within is of greater importance than what's going on outside. Because what is going on outside is really intended to assist in the development of what's going on inside. And so we must be mindful of this as we journey on. That we need to pay more attention to those inner feelings, those inner sensations that are arising within us from time to time. Those moments when we are open to Spirit and we receive those gems of knowledge, those gems of inspiration. That's really what matters, really and truly. Those are the things that are important for us to focus on. And so as we go into our meditation today, we do so mindful of all that we would have heard during the course of the week. And we want to bring it all together at this point in time and just allow ourselves to breathe and to be in this space, this familiar space within us, the space of tremendous peace. If we can find the time to be in that space early in the morning, it gives us some guidance for the day. It helps us to navigate the day ahead. So I want to invite us just to breathe. Intentionally breathe within. Bringing the air in through our nostrils and out through our mouth. Just breathe. Breathe in and release. In through our nostrils and out through our mouths. Letting go any tension, any concerns, any fears, any disturbances. Just releasing and allowing. And acknowledging with a sense of gratitude all that we have received, all that we have heard, all that we have sensed. And in a sense, making it our resolve to live from a place of greater peace. There's much anxiety in our world, and sometimes we try to fight the anxiety, but in fighting anxiety we just make more. Instead, we just need to pay more attention to those places of deep stillness, those places that diffuse the anxiety. So I invite you as we go through this devotion this morning to be in that space of peace. And just listen. Listen to me, listen to your inner self. Listen to what Spirit is saying to you. As the people were filled with expectation, and all were questioned in their hearts concerning John, whether he might be the Messiah, John answered all of them, saying, I baptize you with water, but one who is more powerful than I is coming. I am not worthy to untie the thong of his sandals. He will baptize you with the Holy Spirit and fire. His winnowing fork is in his hand to clear his threshing floor and to gather the wheat into the granary. But the chaff he will burn with unquenchable fire. So with many other exhortations he proclaimed the good news to the people. But Herod the ruler, who had been rebuked by him because of Herodias his brother's wife, and because of all the evil things that Herod had done, added to them all by shutting up John in prison. Now, when all the people were baptized, and when Jesus also had been baptized and was praying, the heaven was opened, and the Holy Spirit descended upon him in bodily form like a dove. And a voice came from heaven, You are my Son, the beloved. With you I am well pleased. So here we are, another Friday, and we are closing off the week. We are, in a sense, making the time that we spent, we are making all that time into this one space for the moment, just to collect all that we might have heard during the course of this week. In this post-resurrection period, in this time where we are reflecting on the goodness of God and the love of God. And in this morning's passage, that word from the Father, this is my beloved Son, affirming Jesus at the beginning of his ministry. And at the same time, we hear of John and John's imprisonment. He had done his work, and this is what was done to him. It seems that for time immemorial, the world has always been unwilling to listen to that which may be disturbing, to listen to that which may not be what we want to hear, but what we need to hear. The folks were looking forward to the Messiah. And John was saying no, that he was not the Messiah, but the Messiah was on his way and he was going to be more powerful. John understood the notion of he must increase, I must decrease. John understood the idea that there was so much more than what he was sharing. It gives one the sense of an openness, a becoming, an expansion. And it's interesting how when, I guess, Darwin, in his idea of evolution, limited as it might have been, when he introduced that, it brought about a thinking in the world of science that this world was becoming more. Every day it was becoming more. And I think that modern science has built on that notion of becoming more and has been able to understand many of the secrets, as it were, of nature. But this reality is not confined to science, but is also found in spiritual circles. We have to understand that all of life is expanding, all of life is becoming more. When John speaks of the power that Jesus was bringing, which was mightier than his, John was speaking of just that, the more. And Jesus, when he spoke to his disciples, he did the same, and he said, don't be amazed at what you see me do. You will do greater things, the more. But this idea that is found in science and is found in these early spiritual teachers seem to have gotten lost somewhere along the line. And we don't any longer speak of the more. Oftentimes we speak as though we've got this all buttoned down and everything that has to be said or was to be said has already been said. And this is creating some tremendous difficulties for us because as a faith group we find ourselves fossilizing and the rest of the world seems to be expanding and understanding spiritual ideas and spiritual teachings that we ourselves are not privy to because we have nailed shut the door as we've got everything we need inside of it. In these few words this morning, I just want to encourage us to keep your door open, to keep that sense of expansion going. You don't know a thimble full of it. Neither do I. There is so much more. And if we are to be able to draw properly from this time, we have to be open to it. We have to explore. And don't let persons scare you by saying that when you go digging in these things, you give the devil room and you give the devil cause, etc. Those are just scare tactics to keep persons from doing the work that they're supposed to do. You're here as a child of God, one who is to be called the beloved. But we need to do the work. We all need to do the work. The work of self-understanding. The work of recognizing how we get lost in the world. How we allow the world to overthrow us. How we try to keep up with the world and we find we can't keep up and we struggle and we are fully consumed by the world because that's all we know. And we are tricked into thinking that we're not enough and that we are going to be left behind. And we struggle and we fight. And we use the model from school, knowing that if you don't pass your exams, you're going to be left behind. You're not going to get a good job. You're not going to make any money and you're going to be on the street. And that petrifies us. And we don't realize how much we've bought into that idea. And so we no longer do things that bring us joy. We do things that bring us money. But there's the emptiness of money. And there's the stress that comes with money. But the things that bring us joy are eternal. They're not temporal. They're eternal. And we are here to go after the things that are eternal, not the things that are temporal. We've got to release that commitment and that dedication to the external achievements. We've got to rethink this and wake up and realize that we are investing in something that cannot last, that has no real substance, that all it does is bring us this turmoil. A few moments of happiness, but the majority of turmoil. And remember, it's not happiness we're after. It's joy. That inner awareness of the presence of the divine and the fact that we are one with the divine. It's joy. That's what we are here to accomplish. The joy of the Lord is our strength.